me start first. Okay, this is learning path second. Okay, the evening session. Okay, first day. Okay, AI fundamental, AI900 certification. Explore fundamental of machine learning. Okay, as you see, for each of the learning path, okay, there are two modules. So first is mainly more on the fundamental lah, more on the theory part. Okay, and then the use cases involve application for which apa nama ni, AI punya concepts. Okay, fall under which apa nama ni, path tadi lah. Okay, learning path. So then we have Azure Machine Learning. Second module will cover on the punya lab technical lah, practice. Okay, as you know, machine learning or ML lah. Okay, ML is a subfield, okay, of this AI, okay, which enables the computer to learn from the data. Okay, okay ke? Saya takut saya cakap aja nanti kan. You can't hear my voice. Everything okay? Okay. Okay, good. And so ML is a subfield of AI that enables computer to learn from data. Dia kena ada data dulu and make prediction. Kan data tadi, data ingat apa tadi? It can be your apa? Speech, can be your text, it can be the audio. Yalah, speech is audio, right? And the images, and the video, or the multimedia. Kat sini MC penting lah, multimedia. All the data, multimedia pun tak semestinya more on audio video. Dia ada text, the images kan. So those are the data, text. And ML can help software engineers, okay, reduce the programming time and customize products, solve complex problem and hard to do by code. For example, okay, this machine learning also changes the way, okay, we think of a problem. Okay, we shift from rule based, okay, macam my research mainly more on rule based kepada data driven approach. Okay, rule based macam dia ikut pattern, ikut algorithm, but for machine learning dia belajar daripada data. You have a collection, you have massive kind of data, different type, okay, text lah, audio lah, images lah, video lah. So how are you going to manipulate, okay, this data, this data into much more user friendly, data driven, okay, some sort of that lah. And for this we cover what is machine learning, okay, dalam introduction ni, what is the type of machine learning, model training, etc. Okay, then next for Azure Machine Learning, okay, module 2, okay, Azure Machine Learning is actually the cloud service provided by Microsoft lah, okay, Microsoft Azure, which helped data scientists and developer, okay, apa nama, to build, okay, to build, then deploy and manage the high quality machine learning model faster and of course lah, with confidence, convenient, robust, semua term yang bombastic lah, okay, quality pun ada, so it's safer as well. Okay, so this supports the end-to-end machine learning life cycle with tools like data preparation, apalagi model development, okay, apalagi validation, deployment and monitoring lah. Okay, and under this Azure Machine, you will learn, okay, what is Azure Machine Learning, automated machine learning, Azure Machine Learning Designer. Mana dia punya agent, okay, ada machine learning sendiri dan design. How you gonna design? Okay, by utilizing Azure platform ni, okay, Azure punya portal ni untuk buat dia punya data manipulation lah, okay. Okay, and introduction. This is my first module, introduction to machine learning. Okay, let us watch this video. So machine learning is a foundation kan untuk most AI solution. Kira dia kind of hyper lah. Okay. And let us start by looking at a real example of how machine learning can be used to solve a difficult problem. Okay, like for example, you use sustainable the farming technique, okay, untuk maximize. Ini mungkin boleh jadikan cadangan kepada our Prime Minister, where he is actually very keen to help the farmers. Okay, so kita guna AI. Ada dimension with our Prime Minister that we use AI to maximize food production. We have problem with this, our economy. We are mainly importing food from outside, especially apa nama ni, makanan untuk ayam semua. That's why we have shortage of this chicken because of makanan ayam tu sendiri, food, raw food for our products lah. So this yield actually an agriculture technology company which based macam contoh di Australia pun ada guna sensor, guna data, guna machine learning untuk tolong, okay, they help farmer to make to inform decision. Apa dia, kalau tengok weather macam mana, in term of the tanah macam mana, plant condition. So this is how AI helps lah. So I'm gonna show you this video. Okay, I'm gonna use my microphone. I'm not sure why Microsoft is still.
Now, through intelligence, helps us meet the needs of today so we're prepared for tomorrow.
By 2050, we need to produce 60% more food. So how are we going to feed the world without wrecking the planet? Using Microsoft artificial intelligence, we can reduce waste and produce more food. Any grower will tell you every row, every crop is different. We can use Microsoft AI to make local predictions about light, wind, rain. This helps farmers know when to plant, irrigate, and harvest. It's making a difference.
Artificial intelligence helps farmers grow more while wasting less.
Okay, that's was the example from Australia, where they uses sensor lah, okay, sensor, and then this sensor will detect all the data, macam contoh pH tanah, okay, and then the amount of water, okay, on the soil, with wet enough, dan cahaya sensor untuk the apa nama brightness contoh dia. Okay, so this relates with the weather, soil and plant condition, penyakit apa contoh dia. Okay, so very interesting. Okay. So next, okay, so this is some example of relates to a case, okay, relates to machine learning, okay, where you're creating predictive model by funding relationship. Okay, machine learning ni memang a very wide exploration, research on anything everywhere. Dia boleh combine your data tadi lah, okay, data text, boleh masuk NLP, boleh masuk vision apa vision kat situ, boleh masuk what else, everything lah, okay, kebanyakan. So here, okay, let's say, okay, you can create predictive kan model, okay, based on relationship of the data. Okay, so let us look at this example. Okay, so a botanist collects some samples, okay, of flowers. Okay, okay, so these are the collection of flower lah. Okay, so collection of flowers. So each sample has a set of features, okay, ataupun characteristic. Okay, dia ada on the petal itself. Okay, petal dia lainkan, and the number of there should be labeled as species. Okay, and they measure on samples such as the petals, okay, number of petals, stem, and other details lah. Okay, and the botanist can provide label for the flowers using its species. Okay, and then especially Latin punya nama lah, okay, macam Bellis perinis, perinis, tulipa kat sini rosa. So macam mana dia nak classify, okay, each of the flowers name lah. Okay, so this algorithm used to find the relationship between the features and as well as the label. Okay, so the sample data is processed using algorithm. Okay, dia berguna untuk find relationship, okay, between the features dengan label tu sekali. So dia akan tengok label ni mungkin color, how many petals ada, how many number of sebenarnya stalk dia just one je lah kan. Okay, dia daun dia, okay, and as well as the petal tu lah. Okay, the sample data is then processed using algorithm. So the result of the algorithm is machine learning, okay, model, okay, where this is the human head, human heads. Okay. Okay, so it says belly spirilis. So it comes into account on best release. So this part, so they can classify everything. Okay, so since the model has learned the relationship between the features and label, you can use it to predict the species of flower based on its features lah. So there's a new flower appear. Okay, kalau ada jenis bunga yang baru muncul, okay, perhaps a new species ke apa ke. So if it create a new species, then a new label name will be created lah. So dia bergantung dengan data-data yang ada. Okay. So this is another example. Okay. Okay. So type of machine learning. This part yang I quite confused. Okay, ini yang buat saya hilang 2 markah kat sini ni. Okay, so because it's kind of a new part, a new for me. Okay, because I'm focusing, because my area is more on natural language processing. Okay, mana mandangkan, okay, I focus on natural processing. Okay, but not through this machine learning. But machine learning is really important because part of my work, okay, NLP is also machine learning. Okay, as we know, we have supervised mainly more on data. Okay, bila kaji betul, okay, my data is mainly more on supervised data because I'm using the rule based. Okay, I'm using classification. Ada I train, I have the data, kan, I ada use case text tadi kan, okay, text requirements. Okay, maka noun untuk my actor yang siapa-siapa yang dah belajar OSD before this, okay, nouns for the actor and then verb for the process, okay, and then adjective can become, okay, even your actor as well. So these are supervised. So machine learning, okay, categorized into 2 lah. Okay, there are 2 general approach for this machine learning, supervised dengan unsupervised machine learning. So yang ni you kena faham betul-betul. Okay, this is mainly more on the data. So training data include non-label. Okay, manakala for unsupervised, okay, train data is unlabeled. So this is much more difficult lah. You do clustering kat sini based on past experience and how do you handle the algorithm behind it. So both have a goal of capturing model or equation which try to predict the result that is as close as the actual result as possible. So both approach require, of course lah, input data. Okay, data mungkin dari segi suhu, okay, and the number of cycler contohnya, and then this is to trace, categorize the diabetic patient, okay, number of dia punya sugar dalam blood dia, okay, ni clustering, okay, vehicle, contohnya ni untuk diesel ke ni untuk high end punya vehicle, okay, and so forth lah. Okay. And for example, supervised machine learning relies on us. Okay, it relies on before that, okay, both have a goal kan. So goal of capturing model equation which try to predict a result that is close to the actual result as possible. And both approach require data after that. Okay, and we call different group of data such as contohnya height tadi kan, height, width, age, features. And for supervised machine learning, okay, relies on us having some data with known, okay, kita ada label values that we fit to a model. Okay, macam tadi contoh flower petals tadi, okay, it's a supervised machine learning because dia ada label, dia ada number of petals, kan? So values which can fit to a model, so which can then be applied for a new data for which we don't have the label values. Contohnya, okay, kalau adanya bunga baru, okay, a new species of flower, we can at least relate to the current model that we have, kan, nama nama bunga, and then the characteristic of the number of petals dia ada. Okay, so remember labels are what we want to predict, such as the house price, okay, an item in an image, okay, and if someone has diabetic, contoh kat sini, contoh yang ada diabetic, ni diabetic lah. Okay, so dia dapat predict kalau darah dia tinggi ke ataupun other karakteristik lain lah, okay, untuk health dia. And this is okay, cycler ni, okay, untuk rental nanti saya tunjuk video dia macam mana. Okay, so there are two type of supervise. So yang ni kena faham betul-betul. Okay, supervise clustering, okay. Tapi ni regression and classification, it might get you confused. Okay, two type of supervised machine learning tasks, okay, which is the regression, okay, and as well as classification. Okay, regression, you use regression when you want to predict numeric value. Numeric value, okay, data, okay, secara nombor digit, okay, like a price, sales total ataupun other measure, itu untuk regression. Okay, classification, okay, actually determine class test data belong to. Okay, usually probability antara 0 and 1 lah. Okay, on off boleh juga 0 1. So that's for classification. Regression dengan classification. Yang ni class kan, you class kan, ini ada diabetic, ni tak ada diabetic. Okay, yes no, that's itu. Okay, based on the data being provided, characteristic data or value or even metrics being provided. Ini suhu dan ni adalah dia punya kandungan gula dalam darah dia. So this is clustering. So for clustering is unsupervised machine learning, okay, which data is unlabeled. Dia tak labelkan data. So mana dia have to have a very good algorithm to identify, okay, this cluster, this object item actually group into which category. So clustering, okay, determine label based on how similar the item is to the item in the label group. Kat sini dipanggil vehicle with similar emission. Okay, and fuel efficiency lah, characteristic are separated into duster. So dia guna contoh fuel efficiency lah. Okay, and ni predict whether patient is at risk for diabetic. Okay, based on the clinical measure. Ni predict the number of bike rental based on day, okay, season and as well as the weather. So let us watch the video.
Machine learning is a technique in which you can use data to train a model that predicts unknown information. For example, suppose a bicycle rental company keeps records that include the weather conditions, temperature, and seasonal details for the days in which they've operated. And they also record the number of bicycle rentals that they had each day. The weather and seasonal characteristics for each day are called its features, and the thing that we want to train a model to predict, in this case the number of rentals, is called the label. For short, we often refer to the features as X and the label as Y. We can take this historic data and apply an algorithm to figure out a function that fits the features to the label. In other words, the function calculates Y from X. The function we've calculated is the basis for your predictive model. So if you have the features for a new day, but the label is unknown, you can use the model to predict the unknown label, which in this case is the expected number of bike rentals. This kind of machine learning, where the label your model predicts is a numeric value, is called regression. Now let's look at another form of machine learning. This time, suppose a health clinic takes measurements from patients, including blood pressure, glucose level, weight, height, and so on. Additionally, each patient is categorized as diabetic or not diabetic. The patient measurements are our features, or X, and the classification of diabetic or not is our label, or Y. We can fit the features and labels to a function that calculates the probability of a patient belonging to a particular class based on their features. In this case, the possible classes are diabetic and not diabetic. When the features for a new patient are collected, the model we've trained can predict the probability that the patient is diabetic or not. This kind of machine learning, where the predicted label is a category or a class, is called classification. So far, we've seen examples of regression, where we use historic data to train a model to predict a numeric value, and classification, where the model predicts the class to which an item belongs. These are both examples of supervised machine learning, where we have historic data with known feature and label values that we can fit to a function to train the model. Now suppose you have data that consists of features, like the measurements and petal counts of some flowers, but you have no known labels. You just want to group your items together into clusters based on their similarity. In this case, the flower measurements are our X value, and the Y value represents the clusters into which we want to group the flowers. We can use an algorithm to separate the data values into clusters based purely on the feature values, and the resulting model predicts which cluster each flower is assigned to. Clustering models like this, that are trained without a known label value, are examples of unsupervised machine learning. Regardless of the kind of machine learning model you want to create, there's a typical process that you follow. First, you need to get the data with which you're going to train your model. We call this data ingestion. Then there's usually an iterative process in which you explore the data and prepare it for modeling. Data pre-processing includes steps such as feature selection. In other words, identifying features that are likely to help predict the label and discarding others. Then you might clean the data, for example, by finding outliers or errors and removing them, and imputing missing feature values with a suitable replacement. You might also engage in some feature engineering to derive new features from existing ones. And you should generally normalize your numeric features so they're on the same scale. Then you can apply an algorithm to fit your prepared data and train a model and evaluate its performance. When you're happy with the model, you typically deploy it to a service. Applications can then connect to your service and use it to predict unknown labels from known feature values.
That is how actually the machine learning services works. Okay, when you have the data, everything you require data, and as well as you have your algorithm, you have your formula, in order for you to get the data. You have the raw data X, Y, tadi, and how the manipulated data based on your formula, kind of formula that you want the data to be to have the characteristic that you require to. Okay, macam contoh, like here. Okay. The triangle validation. Satu lagi. Presently,
Machine learning
okay. Unhide.
technique which use data to train a model predict
Okay.
information.
Actually been hidden.
Suppose a bicycle rental company keeps records that include weather conditions, temperature, and seasonal details for the days in which they.
Okay, so this is actually how the regression linear graph. Okay, so this number of cyclists. Okay, so bicycle rental company, so depending on the weather Fahrenheit lah kan, kira temperature of the weather. Okay, like that. So this is training. Okay, up till kat sini, okay, is training module. Okay, and predict. Okay, if it's 54 Fahrenheit, okay, ini dalam bentuk Fahrenheit kat sini. Okay, temperature, yes, is 54 Fahrenheit. So it's kind of nearer to 56 ni kan. So this is the training. So this is training model 56, 61 up till kalau kira 82 ni berapa orang yang akan hadir lah. Okay, how many customer cycler who will rent the bicycle. So bila 62 dia tahu okay this is nearer to 126. Okay, so they validate it as well. Okay, so antara lebih kurang kat sini lah, up down kat sini. Okay, so this is this. Okay. So this is regression. So for regression again, okay, as mentioned tadi is more to numeric value lah. Okay, so how many numeric. Okay, for the classification more to true, false or 0, 1, yes, no. Okay, so these are the measurement of the characteristic of bacaan lah. Okay, measure of the blood reading untuk dia kandungan gula dan sebagainya. Okay, before that, okay, any regression untuk tahu lebih lanjut lagi. So as you know, a regression model capture relationship between features kan dengan label. Features kat sini, okay, these are the features, these are the label. Sama juga macam contoh the petal tadi, okay, petal and then the label of the name of the scientific name for the flower, okay. And okay, I want to ask questions. Okay, what do you think of other real world scenario for regression model? Kalau nak unmute pun boleh, kalau nak type dalam lecture dalam text box pun boleh, dalam chat box tu boleh. So my question is, okay, can you think of other real world scenario for regression? Ingat dah, okay, untuk regression beza dia ini numerical value kan. So yang ini is actually the boolean value, yes, no, 0, 1, on, off ke apa ke. Okay, you know, this regression. Tengok dalam chat box ni. Anyone? Any taker? Kalau nak unmute pun boleh. We do this interactive conversation. Selina. Age and height. Okay, age and height tu untuk what kind of condition? Bank OPR, yes. Bank OPR boleh. Age and height tu untuk domain yang macam case yang macam mana? Case lah. Use case lah. Yang kata use case. So this use case is actually for rental company to identify how many predicted cycler will rent for the business lah, car rental business. Kita ada jawapan kat sini, yes, OPR, bank OPR, good. Anyone? You just add in. Apa lagi? Kalau you nak guna ChatGPT pun silakan. You want to test out the Bing, beza Bing answer, okay, and as well as your ChatGPT tadi. Okay, sebab saya pun tanya juga ChatGPT ni. Yeah, sometimes on the business side, finances side, kita tak tahu kan case tadi yang ada di luar, which users you can ask, okay, give, okay, this of term phrases tu is really important when you ask ChatGPT. Contoh, give real world scenario for regression model. Tu je. So they will come up, okay, regression model can be useful in variety of real world scenario. Okay. And then they are actually supervised kan. Okay, here are some example given. So there's a sales forecasting. So where a company may use regression, okay, model to predict future sales. But dia it's mainly more on feature dengan label kan. So there are the features such as historical data, market trend, and other variable. Okay, the second example is financial modeling. Semuanya pasal businesses. Financial modeling, regression model can be used to predict stock prices. Macam OPR pun lebih kurang sama juga. It's a good example. Okay, so untuk financial modeling, the predict untuk stock prices, asset prices, return on ROI based on the market indicator, company financial and other economic factors. Itu salah satu untuk finance and businesses lah. Sales forecasting dengan financial modeling tadi. Okay, salah satu contoh untuk regression model lagi healthcare. Healthcare macam saya biasa can be used to analyze patient to predict health outcome and develop the personalized treatment plan. Contoh untuk yang itu pun kata they are mention about the analyze data untuk health outcomes to develop personalized treatment plan. Apa plan seterusnya lah. Okay, bukannya plan for whether dia classified as diabetic atau tak, itu another one. So this is actually for personalized treatment plan dia, apa the next mitigation lah, okay, for that patient tadi. So then insurance company use regression model to estimate the probability of risk and as well as calculate the premium lah. Marketing pun ada spot analytics. Apa pula dengan spot analytics, contohnya it can be used to predict team performance. Okay, team performance, okay, player performance, game outcome based on the data from the past games. Okay, siapa yang kaki bola kat sini, bolehlah buat regression modeling ni untuk cari team performance ni. Okay, from past games, player statistic and other factors. Apa-apa yang melibatkan numbering, digit, label, ni boleh categorize it under regression. Ingat tu, exam akan ditanya nanti, dia bagi satu senario lah. Okay, dia akan tanya, okay, spot analytics. Is it classification, is it clustering ataupun regression modeling yang you perlu. You have to think out of the box lah. Apa data yang perlu. So environmental, satu lagi environmental studies. Regression model can be used to analyze the impact of environmental factors such as temperature, kan? Ada temperature, ada rainfall, ada air pollution on wildlife, population wildlife tu, okay, plant growth and other ecological system. Benda yang kira you nampak banyak value digits tu, okay, you can just then make sure don't confuse with clustering nanti. Bila you dah dapat regression dengan clustering, you dah tahu, okay, it won't be under classification, it should be regression ataupun you teka lagi clustering. So tahu for clustering dia is actually unsupervised. So yang ni is supervised, data dah ada semua. Okay. So bila you go through examples baru you faham which one actually park under which one lah. Okay, next one is on the classification, kan? Saya akan tanya classification. So same questions. What is the real scenario, other scenario for a classification model? So ada yang trade. Okay, weather forecast. Okay, good, Nelson. Trade boleh juga, trade. Dia punya game pun boleh juga. So yang ni mungkin you can classify. Okay, next question. So yang ni as you see, okay, dia ada untuk darah dia, untuk measure lah weight dia juga. Dia ada dekat situ. Pound, dia pakai pound kat sini. Okay, 10 12. Okay, and Y is actually on whether dia diabetic ataupun tak. 0, 1 value. Okay. Okay. Apa dia? Question again. Okay. Think of other real world scenario for classification model. As you know, classification model capture a relationship between features dengan label. Okay, and the label, okay, should be category and class 0, 1 tadi lah. Okay. Any taker? Belum ada lagi. Okay, saya bagi example kat sini, email spam filtering. Contoh email provider can use classification model to classify incoming email as either it's spam, ada dua kan, spam or not, based on features such as the keyword, kan, feature. So feature will be a keyword dia, sender information and message content. Okay, untuk kenal pasti spam. Dia spam ke bukan spam? So 0 or 1. Kalau dia spam is 1, kalau dia not spam is 0 contoh dia. So this can help reduce the amount of unwanted email in users inboxes. Okay, macam contoh Gmail, okay, they uses this email spam filtering lah. Okay, ataupun you can set out, okay, so I don't want this domain name email to be, but this is a spam, so you just recognize it as a spam. Tu belum lagi ada component of AI lah. Okay, so there's no classification, auto classification. Okay, untuk tu. Okay, and another one is credit risk assessment. Okay, so financial institution can use classification model to predict the likelihood of default ataupun credit risk for loan applicants, okay, based on factors such as credit history, income, employment status. This can help lenders, okay, to make more informed decision about loan approval, okay, and as well as the interest rates. Okay, like for example, you currently have 2 cars, contohlah. Okay, your parents currently have 2 cars, okay, and those cars are actually under your father's name, contoh. And your father want to buy a car for you and using again your father's punya nama, so bila akan check semua detail, or it's not it's a risk, okay, for your father to pay another loan lah, okay, tambah loan, so been rejected, so macam tu lah, okay, so it depending on the credit history kalau kira, and then as well as the income. Contoh employment status sama ada, okay, you are employed or unemployed, dia akan check sekali lah. So jawapan dia rejected, okay, or accepted, 1 or 0. Any taker lagi nak check sama ada jawapan you betul ke tak. Scam call, and then yes, good Muhammad Arif. Face recognition, okay, face recognition dia ada label. Face recognition contohnya, ataupun okay, you want to switch on your phone ni kan, you ada face recognition, so on or off lah. Kalau kira your face recognition untuk identify, okay, be careful with this kind of questions, okay, depending on what type of question they're gonna ask. Okay, face recognition untuk trace, okay, whether you are somebody lah, okay, macam label, whether you are Fauza, Siti, Aminah ke, Abu ke, so if yes or no, then okay, it's part of classification. Okay, if you want to switch on your phone tadi based on your face, okay, yes, open or rejected lah, okay, access or rejected lah, okay, it can be. If your intention for face recognition untuk open and on off tu boleh, okay, so it's accepted, okay, for face recognition. Okay, good. Okay. Kat sini another one is disease diagnosis. Okay, so medical professionals can use classification model to predict the likelihood of a patient having particular disease. Yang ni samalah, based on symptom, medical history and lab results. So this can help physicians make sure that more accurate diagnosis as well as to develop appropriate treatment lah, okay, untuk yang tu. So faham lah, okay, apa beza. Saya dulu memang a bit confused on regression, classification and clustering. Sebab just cover on, memang perlu untuk faham contoh-contoh. Ini pun slide tadi saya tengok, unhide. Okay, so I guess this is really important. Okay. So for the next part is actually yang ni, okay, jangan get confused. Clustering kat sini, so it's not a part of supervised. So kita dah cover machine learning, supervised, regression, classification, and now it's actually the clustering. Okay, so it's under unsupervised machine learning where training data is unlabeled. So any delabeled. So this has label. Okay, okay, let's see. Okay, so this is clustering. So clustering model capture relationship between features without label, okay, which is group in terms of similarity. Okay, so kat sini, okay, so this is the 5 mungkin height dia lah, okay, the stock dia punya batang tu, okay, untuk the height of it, okay, kiraan measure. So this is number of petal lah, okay, berapa kelopak ni, petal 3 kat sini. So it's categorized, this cluster. Okay, it been clustered kat sini. Okay, okay, same questions. Okay, think of other real world scenario for clustering model. Actually, based on you use cases, kalau you tahu mana actually fall under which technique, okay, technique, actually you able to learn from there. So any taker kat sini, apa contoh clustering which is unsupervised? So this clustering model are type of unsupervised learning algorithm that group similar data point together into a clustering based on certain similarity criteria. Okay. So what can you think of the the clustering use case? Anyone? COVID cluster. Well, maklum ada clustering COVID cluster. Yeah, yeah, good idea. Tough sikit lah. Jap. What do you mean by, okay, you have cluster dia, kategori dah tu. You have the data. Let me give some example lah untuk lebih it kind of challenging bit. Okay, so let me give you some example here. Yang diberi oleh ChatGPT lah. Okay, market segmentation. Okay, so what is actually market segmentation? So companies can use clustering models to group customer into different segments, okay, based on their buying behavior, preferences, demographic, and other factors. So this can help businesses tailor their marketing campaign and product offerings to better meet the needs of each of the customer segment. Boleh juga macam COVID tu you have categorize dia kategori apa. Okay, kategori 1, 2, 3, 4 ke kan, we have cluster 4. 4 is kind of mild symptoms, third or even 1 is actually dia dah koma lah. Okay, so need the apa very extensive punya apa treatment lah. So that is market segmentation. Then second example is fraud detection. Macam mana pula dengan fraud detection? So banks and other financial institution can use this clustering model to detect fraudulent activity by grouping together transaction that have similar pattern. Mana dia pattern yang sama, karakteristik yang sama. So this can help to identify suspicious transaction that may be part of a larger fraud schemes. So there's bila teringat the one of the drama, in view kat sini, if you have watched the 1 Cent Thief, it's a local Malaysian punya drama. It's very good. This is based on true story. So fraud detection, what this apa nama criminals that was in 1990 berapa 90s lah, in the 90s. True story. So dia is a bank officer. He stole 1 cent from each of us. Semua yang so contohlah dia X Bank X, contoh RHB Bank contoh dia. So siapa-siapa yang ada account dekat RHB, so dia curi 1 sen. So bayangkan dia Malaysia, the whole Malaysia is 1 million yang 1 million 1 juta yang ada account dalam RHB contohlah. So this is example. I'm not sure which bank yang he work with lah. But not just at his bank, so dia actually curi juga dekat bank luar. So this is actually based on the drama lah. So dia curi 1 juta. So this fraud, bila polis di investigator, pun IT personnel juga, polis in IT lah. So they trace all this pattern. So this fellow actually took 1 cent from each of the client lah. Client of that bank. So bila pattern tu bila the group this kind of transaction, they found who actually stole it. So it actually the bank officer sendirilah. So they caught up there. Tapi sebenarnya apa yang berlaku is actually the officer criminal ni tadi, the bank officer who stole the money. He bought bungalows, he bought cars, expensive cars. You just SPM punya lever kan, yang kerja bahagian cashier tu, tapi dia tiba-tiba ada rumah yang mewah and then kereta mewah. So this is based on true story. That's why bank now they are more secured. Even like for example Maybank or even CIMB kan, they have precaution. Where how do Maybank ask the existing customer to change from Maybank apps kepada MAE apps? So because the old application actually need to be upgraded. So memang ada cubaan lah. There are a lot of attempt for the fraudsters who want to steal the money actually. So there's a lot of suspicious transaction and everything. So fraud detection. Dia kenal pasti similar pattern dengan karakteristik macam sama macam ni. Jadilah similar pattern and karakteristik macam sini. This is example is how many petals. So they will group into one cluster lah. Okay, then next one is the customer service. Companies can use clustering model to group customer complaint and feedback into different category based on topic ataupun issue. Okay, like you prioritize and address the most common issue and more efficiently lah. Macam they group, okay, this is the low type of comments, macam not really that serious, and then medium or the priority need to be treat contohnya. Okay, perlu diambil kira lah. Apalagi image segmentation pun ada in term of similar color, okay, texture and features, okay, like for example, applications such as medical imaging ataupun object recognition adalah part of image segmentation. So clustering is part of image segmentation. So recommendation system pun, okay, like for example, clustering model can be used to for a recommendation system to group together the similar item and product based on the features, customer rating ataupun other factors. So this actually can help to suggest a relevant product or items to customer based on their past purchases or preferences. So ada yang lain? Tak ada yang nak cuba? COVID cluster, COVID detection. Okay, this is vehicle type also can, boleh? Okay, book, categorizing book in the library. Yes, also can. It's mainly more on selection, banyak kategori kan. Okay, and household income. Okay, again, you need to identify which one is your features, which one is actually your label juga. Yeah, so features and label is really important. Okay, so those are the example. You can go through other example untuk clustering to get more. A bit mungkin confuse juga antara clustering dengan regression ni. So just be careful. Tapi regression is more to number kan ni, kategori. Kategori ni bezanya dengan classification 1, 2 lah, yes, no, 0, 1. So yang ni clustering is mainly you have different group for particular features. Okay. So COVID tu kan boleh jadi salah satu, mana tahu keluar soalan kan nanti. Okay. Okay, model training and validation. Okay, so this is how, as what we seen in the video kan, ditunjuk the first step is actually you split the data. You have the data. Okay, you split the data into training set. Okay, you split the data into the training set. Okay, and validation set. Mana you ada training set dengan validation set, macam contoh apa namanya, cuaca tadi kan. Okay, so apply an algorithm to fit the training data to a model. Okay, so this here first, okay, you split the data into training set and then you validate, okay, the set and then apply the algorithm. Okay, so this part is algorithm to fit the training data to a model. Okay, then third, you train the model encapsulates the relationship. Relationship is penting, relationship antara features tadi dengan as well as your label, okay, in the data. So use the model to generate prediction. So kat sini, okay, so these are the prediction, okay, from the validation punya data. So you need to have data, validated data lah, okay, and use evaluation metric. Ni evaluation metric betul salah ke, compare predicted versus the actual label supervised or measured. Okay, cluster separation. Banyak proses. Yeah, there's for this training set. So after training, we have model that we can test. We can use some of the data set aside, which is the validation data. So to test how closely our model predicted label tadi to the actual. So you have to compare. You punya predicted dengan actual label. So in the case of unsupervised learning, so where you don't have the actual label, again, you don't have any exact label. So we measure how well our models predicted labels were at separating the cluster lah. So there are many types of evaluation metric kat sini. Metric is actually the data, data. So the important thing to remember is that the goal of this ML, which is the machine learning, is to find model that get as close as possible to the predicting, okay, for you to predicting the actual label. So the base model can still have some margin error juga. Okay, so as close as the actual label. So this is mainly on research, okay, data. Then you have the Azure machine learning. Okay, dalam portal Azure tu pun ada machine learning. So a cloud-based platform for machine learning. So after this Azure is a cloud-based platform for machine learning. Okay. And then to use Azure machine learning, you need to subscribe. Hopefully, all of you have successfully subscribed for this Azure subscription. Okay. So in that subscription, you create an Azure machine learning workspace. A workspace is a logical container for resources you need to manage machine learning. Ada satu module tadi is on the machine learning, so compute. Okay, you can do job. Okay, exercises, services. Sorry, models. Okay, through this Azure. Okay. You'll need to manage data. You need to build. Ingat lah, okay, untuk machine learning, you need to have a data lah. Kalau tak ada data, it won't work. So you can then use the data to run the job, okay, for these jobs, okay, on the compute resources. So this job, okay, run actually on machine learning tasks, okay, mana machine learning task services ni, it's compute, okay. So often this training model and generate metrics or data, okay, metric ataupun data lah, okay, the term metrics is on the data and ataupun variables, okay, that can be written in the job history to be reviewed, okay, later. So usually your job is actually to use the train model, okay, which you register and manage in your workspace lah. Okay, and when you're ready to use your model in application, you can publish them as a services. And can be accessed over HTTP connection. It's a bit tough, yeah? But you can refer to any untuk machine learning ada banyak. Even dia Azure machine learning is one of the certification batch, okay, yang you kena pass lah, okay, untuk that expert machine. For automated machine learning, so this automated machine learning in Azure actually provides the easiest way to train machine learning model for regressions or classification. For example, like you do forecasting, which is really on. It's actually a regression with a time series element, kan? Okay, so weather forecasting, and there are visual interface for automated machine learning in Azure Machine Learning Studio web portal ni. So you just need to supply the training data and select the required model type, and as well as the how you gonna use Azure machine learning. So you're gonna explore this. So then you have Azure Machine Learning Designer. We have a visual tool for creating a machine pipeline. Ini sama juga macam pipeline for NLP pun ada pipeline sekali. So use the training pipeline to train and evaluate a model. So create an inference pipeline to predict label from new data. So you can deploy the inference pipeline as a service for apps to use. Okay. Okay, kat sini is the exercises. Okay, but before that, let me explain on yang ni juga. So in Azure Machine, multi-step workflow to prepare is actually you need data again and train model. Okay, you ada data and trainkan data ni kepada train models and perform model management task by using pipeline. So kat sini dia ada bagi tahu. Contoh dia betik data, normalize data. Normalize data macam you buat database kan. So you normalize all the data, you split the data. Okay, and then this is your train model. This is belong to you. And this is 2-class logistic regression. Okay, you do the validation kat sini, split the data and score model kat sini. You need to check lah, you train model tu dengan 2-class ni yang real data lah. Okay, you score. And this is split data, normalized data, actual and predictive kat sini. Okay, score model and last is to evaluate model. Dia ada banyak proses untuk ini. On the right side of the slide, okay, kat sini the pipeline. So as in the script we mentioned, okay, the pipeline start with dataset. Okay, this is dataset. In this case, containing patient's data that include diabetic diagnosis. Okay, macam contoh tadi, okay, the sugar measure in the blood, contoh dia, classification whether the diabetic ke tak, and then before the training, data is usually pre-processed, okay, to clean it up, okay, or otherwise make it more suitable for the modeling lah. So in this case, data is actually dalam bentuk numeric, okay, like for example the height, the weight, the diastolic blood pressure, and so on lah, okay, and been normalized kat sini. Okay, they clean out apa-apa yang not necessary data. Okay, macam contoh mungkin dia punya temperature tak perlu, contohlah. Okay. So it means to convert them all in one scale. So this is common preprocessing step for numerical features kat sini. Okay, antara dua ni. Then designer include normalized data module. Next, a split data. So after the data has been cleaned and then normalized. Okay, the split data is used to randomly split the data set into a training validation. Okay. Subset, this is common step in supervised. Ini is a supervised training because we have some existing data lah. Okay. Pipeline. So you can evaluate the model using data which you wasn't trained. So two class logistic regression ni actually okay compared to your trained data. So the training subset is connected to train model. Apa pula train model? So this train model, okay, module which is in this case we feed the data to a function that predict diagnosis of diabetic or not diabetic train model. So yes or no kat sini lah. So this is mainly on classification. Okay, okay. So this classification function is two possible classes. So an appropriate binary kan 0-1 classification algorithm must be used to train the model. So in these cases, so two class logistic regression, okay, kat sini algorithm. So this is algorithm, okay, has been used, but designer include multiple algorithm option which you can choose. So this is actually built in dalam Azure lah. Okay. So they can predict. So you have to train, okay, your model. Okay. And so this is train model based on the data kat sini, okay, and this as well. So these two, okay, train your data. The validation data include the score dulu. So the score model, okay, is used to score the validation data. Okay, contohnya you use the train model to predict label from the features. So lastly is validation data which include the actual label value lah. Okay, we determine model is as good, is actually good or not, betul tak prediction dia punya based on the model for a classification model like this. So this metric include a simple lah accuracy as well as a coefficient metric pun ada, true positive ataupun ni biasalah, okay, true positive and true positive, false positive ataupun true negative dan false negative. Okay, from which other more listening metric lah can be derived from here. So this is how complicated it is lah. Yeah, tapi bila you go through this machine learning, it's really very helpful. So as early as possible, mungkin masa your first year, second year, you have to know. Okay, bila masuk your second ataupun third year nanti, for those who are currently in the current year, you tahu apa yang perlu you belajar. Okay, then you need to explore the automated machine learning in Azure ML. So in this lab, you will explore the Azure machine learning services, the automated machine learning ability, which is to train your machine learning. So you have to create your own machine learning lab based on your data. So start the virtual machine for this lab. Okay, you can go through these exercises kat sini. Okay, follow the instruction to complete lah. Okay, your ni. Okay, you click at this. So sama juga dalam link dalam ni. Kalau nak senang, semua ada kat sini lah. Everyone can access this. We have the class notebook. are here. Terus nanti saya akan share the slide lah. Okay, they are here. Explore automated machine learning. Sama juga kan? So you follow everything here. Okay, compute. Ikut aja apa yang arahan dia. Dan satu lagi, actually sebenarnya sama juga kod. Okay, when you go here, so that's actually step by step. And here, sebenarnya sama. Let me see. Let me look at this. And this one. Ini lebih detail lagi lah. Okay. So let me show you. This is the lab. Okay. Let's check. Where is our check? Belasan. I have to go to my NS. Ini a bit confusing sikit. Okay, saya kena pergi my chat. Satu. Another one is here lah. Don't get confused. They are actually both the same. Cuma satu yang ni is actually much more detail lah. Yeah, contoh. Okay. So we have done identify classification sama je tadi. All the videos I have shown you. But as a machine learning, so training. So there are information about how Azure machine learning workspace. Okay, to use the machine learning, you first create a workspace resource in your Azure subscription. Okay, hopefully everyone has successfully subscribed to Azure. Okay, you can then use this workshop to manage a workspace to manage your data, compute source code, resources, code, and as well as model. Okay, for your machine learning workload. After you have created Azure machine learning workspace, you can develop a solution lah guna Azure machine learning service. So this is Azure Machine Studio. So create. Okay, ada tanda ni. This is your portal lah. Machine learning. AI machine code native tadi. Okay. Code native tadi pakai yang ni. So this is your first task tadi kan. Okay. Suruh pergi machine learning. So you go to your portal ni. Okay, you find inform based on the instruction. Okay. Go home. Machine learning website. Go to the Azure portal. Machine learning. Okay, home. Okay, this is Azure Machine Studio. You click on that part. This is machine learning Azure. Another link kat sini. So ML direct ke situ lah. So you create your workspace. Okay, name. Okay, for student. I'm actually a part of the student. Saya nak tengok how your view looks like. Semua ada kan? Ada yang ada difficulty tak nak access this portal ni? So, dapat yang tu. Okay, step by step lagi. So this is the machine dia. Okay, how you compute. Okay, then this is the designer. So engine dia dan ni adalah designer untuk editor lah. So you boleh drag drop ni kat sini. So we call it as a machine learning studio. Okay, yang sebelum ni the first exercise is mainly more on the CLI lah, command line interface, command. Okay, so one way is to use the visual interface, which called designer, where you train, okay, you test and deploy machine learning models. You drag and drop saja using these interfaces. Okay, this is the pipeline. Okay. Pipeline tadi ingat tak yang contoh I bagi you ni, this part, ni. So the pipeline, the data, how you normalize it, how you split it, okay, how do you use the inference pipeline to train your model and get validate score and as well as validate kan dia. Okay. Not to worry about this lab exercise. Saya pun tak bagi compulsory lah untuk you cover all actually. But if you able to complete it even better lah. Saya pun tak berapa complete juga ini. Yeah, so it's kind of there's another extra actually untuk lab exercises. Tapi I haven't gone through that. Sebab diberi pun dalam masa 7 hari. I haven't had chance to explore. Nanti saya at the end of the class tomorrow, I'll share you another extra. If you have passed this AI 900 ini, you go for AZ900. So you need to have this knowledge of how to use Azure. Okay, Azure punya platform ni lah. Okay. So ni just nak tahu untuk introduction you lah. Okay, dataset macam mana. So ini tunjuk you. Okay, this is the component. Okay, apa component dia. Okay, we have the notebook, automated ML dengan as well as the designer. Okay, you can add the column, row, and these are the dataset. Okay, dataset, edit column. Okay, okay, Azure machine learning jobs. Okay, I know you will explore this first rather than me lah. Okay, because machine learning is not my expertise, but I'm willing to learn. You know, combine NLP dengan machine learning is very good tools lah. It's very good tools. So understand step for classification. Okay, macam mana you guna classification. Okay, prepare data, train your model, evaluate performance, deploy predictive service. Semua proses sama. Okay, for classification, for regression, for even for your clustering lah. Okay, be a bit of additional part. We train it to train the data. Ini adalah pipeline. We call it pipeline. To class is untrained. Okay, so you train your data. So yang ni yang data-data raw lah kita kata. Raw, this is result, and then you train data. So you trainkan untrained kepada data set ni. So this is your model. So this can be your master work ataupun even your final year project punya work. A simple one lah. A score model and terus dapat. Cuba, you can test out. So this is confusion matrix yang saya bagi tahu tadi. Okay, it have a true positive. Okay, it can be true. Ini yang kita nak lah. True ataupun it can be false positive. Okay, or even it's false negative. Ini negatif. Ini yang kita selalu. Ini yang kira a bit not exact to the result lah. Okay, for positive dengan true negative. So you need to clarify that. So ini contoh accuracy, precision, recall. So these are how you validate your data. Accuracy, precision, as well as recall lah. Okay. Semua ada kat sini. So you can go through. So untuk exam, so this might saya dulu tak ada. Okay, like my case early last year, we didn't been evaluate on this. Okay, mungkin saya kena tanya your senior lah, first batch of AI900 ni sama ada okay, were there been asked. Tapi it's good to explore though. Okay. Kejap. Rasa ada my exam ada yang actual true predictive, so you can read through this. I guess I can remember now. Recall. If we call that, okay, I ada untuk yang ni ada soalan macam ni. Rasanya ada dua soalan, not more than 5. More than that. Dan tak ada pun if you have time to explore, yes, just to explore deployment, probability. Okay. Ini actually dalam your exercise nanti. How you explore the exercise. So launch the exercise. Buat activity. Baca dulu yang tadi, yang I show you tadi, baru masuk ke exercise ni lah. Create, launch, open, create your compute and select. So ikut semua, jangan ada miss out anything. Create a pipeline, designer. Okay. Okay, go to setting. So they are all very detailed kat sini. Step by step tu dia betik punya data. Ikut semua. Load data. Asalnya dalam lab you pun tak adalah se-detail macam ni. Okay, load data to canvas. So go through one by one. Take your time because yang ni pun dalam maksudnya 3 jam kot untuk habis lah for this machine learning. So fahamkan semua. Okay, I'm not gonna cover everything. So this is actually self-learning lah. You can have your friend together with you doing this until you get the result kat sini. So the result here lah. Test. Okay, select test on the right hand of the, so you get the prediction. So you can test. So kat sini the result. Okay, probability 1. Okay. Quiz time. What's the issue? Go through the quiz first. Let me go through the messages that you added in. Anything. Check. If I use of in order to sign into the. This is from Nicole. Mine have to use in order to sign into the Microsoft Azure Machine Learning Studio case. Okay. Cannot use anymore. So it's better test. Try using the auto go into Unimas background. Okay, I now understand. Yeah, I actually quite confused myself. Okay, with this ID. So I use Unimas email, and at the same time I use my Outlook. Okay, and to get the issue later is actually when you have passed your exam, you get the certification from Kedify kalau tak silap. And let me check. Issue nanti credly.com. Ini ke? Alamak, saya lupa lah password. Sign in with Microsoft. So just to be safe, so I guna my Outlook. See. Tak ada je main. But for our case, for my case, pakai Unimas email untuk register certification for woman punya AI900 tu kan. Okay, and then I got the certification, I got issued to park it under LinkedIn lah. Okay, the badge yang dapat balik badge tu. To issue, but when I asked around, they said we can combine them both. Just that lah. Okay, Unimas email ni will not be with you forever unless you are working as a. Tak boleh juga because dia your metric number. Dia tak ada lah my account. Sekejap. Ni tak ada. I guess I'm using. Let's see. Yes, my Unimas. Along the way, I use Unimas juga check quickly. Okay, ni I pakai Unimas punya. I'm not sure with Dr. Ping. Dr. Ping mungkin ada experience with using Gmail kan. Saya guna both lah, but yeah, for student perhaps better to use. I'm a bit in dilemma sebenarnya. Kalau boleh guna siswa lah kalau nak senang. Can I use siswa account to learn and take exam while attend the batch after graduation with my personal account? Let's see. I rasa ada guna dua. Merge, ada. Okay, like for example, ni guna Uni.my kan. So add another email. Okay, you boleh guna your other email lah. So dia akan merge. So these are actually your batch. Kalau tak silap, Credly. Kalau contoh you nak pakai untuk AWS batch. I'm not sure. Okay, so try it out. Virgin Claim. So this actually a third party who apa namanya? It's a hub, not a hub, macam agent untuk to have certification punya provider lah. Macam from Microsoft, AWS or mungkin others lah. I'm not sure who else under ni. Okay, let's see. IBM ada, Dell certified, okay. Okay, Association PS ni pun ada. Oracle pun ada. EDX. Okay, apa yang lagi? Macam tak ada tunjuk. Credly. Just okay. On LinkedIn. Semua dekat sini. So which means you able to combine lah. So merge account, you merge lah any account you want here. You boleh kod, you can test it out. So LinkedIn, add profile, boleh lah masuk. So you can just explore, you search kan aja. No issue lah. Don't worry, yang penting ambil exam dulu. So boleh lah pakai siswa pun boleh. Okay. Then you merge your account. Biasanya mungkin senang lagi pakai siswa code. I don't know. Okay, it's same kan? Okay. Anyway, based on both of our experience, Kata Ping pakai Gmail, saya pakai Outlook, and both of rasanya I combinekan dua tu, my Outlook with my Unimas punya email. Okay, the question. The first quiz. So you would like to train a model without labels that groups similar features together. What is this? Okay, what is this? An example of what is this? Is it classification? Is it regression? Or is it clustering? Mana dia you want to train a model tapi tak ada label. Okay, that the group similar features together. Okay, you said clustering. Okay, it's true. It's a clustering. And the next question. So an automobile dealership wants to use historical sales data to train machine learning model. So the model should predict the price of pre-owned car based on its make, its model, its engine size, mileage. So what kind of machine learning model should the dealership use to for the automated machine learning to create? Okay, again, this is for historic car sales. Okay, you nak trainkan machine learning. So which classified machine learning model that you want to use? You want to predict the price of pre-owned car based on make dia, model, engine size, and mileage. Apa dia jawapan? So ini clustering tadi. Okay, correct. Nombor 2. Regression, yep, Nelson. Oh, CBA. Arif dah bagi jawapan. Okay, good. The third one is A lah. Okay. This is regression. Okay, and the third one, a bank wants to use a historic loan repayment. Okay, required to categorize loan application. Nah, ni ada kat situ category, categorize, classification. You can set them as a same term lah. Okay. To categorize loan application as a low risk or high risk based on the characteristics like the loan amount, the income of the borrower, and the loan period. What kind of machine learning model should the bank use? Okay, you have classification, you classified. Okay, and the low risk and high risk lah. Not difficult kan? Okay, and here's the summary of machine learning. Okay, we nearer to the end of the second path, learning path lah. Okay, which is the machine learning. Okay, as we know, machine learning is a subfield of AI. Okay, which enable you to learn from data. So remember, data is really important in data input lah. Really important in machine learning. Okay, you have the data. Okay, and you model the data and make predictions or decision without some explicit instruction. So machine learning can help you to reduce programming time, to customize your product, okay, even to solve a complex problem which is hard to do by your own hand lah. Okay, for example, okay. And machine learning also changes the way we think about problem. Okay. So shifting from the rule based ataupun pattern based to a mainly more to data driven approach. Data driven mainly macam contoh especially on the unsupervised approach kan, okay, model. So for the machine learning, okay, it's optimized the performance based on example data, okay, ataupun past experience. So this is actually machine learning. Okay, it involves components such as model to represent the task. Okay, you need to have model lah untuk represent that the data, okay, represent the data and the task, and as well as important part is the learning algorithm. You have to train the model by using the learning algorithm, okay, and utilize the data and evaluate. Score itu penting. The next step is score. What is actually the score when you compare between the prediction and actual ni? Okay, you evaluate okay, by using the evaluation method that measure how well your model to perform the data lah, to perform a new data. Okay, we have machine learning type. Okay, can be classified as two category. Okay, kita ada supervised learning and unsupervised learning kan. And for the supervised learning again, algorithm based on the labeled data. Kalau ada label data, automatic or it's supervised. So where the desired output, okay, actually known. Okay, the label actually known based on the characteristic lah. Okay, and unsupervised learning provide algorithm with unlabeled data, where the goal is to find structure ataupun pattern within the data. So you have to find examples based on what I said just now. And then for the model training and as well as the validation, which after you have collected all the data, kan, you have to design your model data, then you need to validate. So model training and as well as validation are actually very important step in machine learning. Itu yang kita panggil pipeline tadi. Data, okay, and then you need to model, train your data tu, and then you validate the score, and you get the result. So these are actually the pipeline. So model training is the process of you adjust the parameters of model using the training data to minimize the error, and as well as you want to maximize the accuracy lah. So this model validation, okay, is the process of you test. So apa-apa you have to test how well you punya train model, okay, untuk generalizekan to a new data that has to not seen before lah, okay, benda yang baru. Okay, so model validation can help to detect overfitting ataupun unfitting, which also a common problem dalam machine learning ni. Okay. And then you have the Azure machines, is mainly more on the Azure portal lah, okay, which you can explore later on. Okay, so Azure machine is a cloud service, okay, part of cloud service that help the data scientist, okay, developer untuk build, okay, you build dulu, create workspace, okay, and you deploy, okay, and deploy can use the data, deploy, manage high quality lah model faster. Okay, so this is actually end-to-end machine learning lah, machine learning life cycle. Okay, you kena ada data preparation, you prepare data dulu, you model, do the development of the model, you do validation, you deploy, and lastly is monitoring. So tu macam proses SDLC jugalah, tapi this is more to machine learning punya life cycle you kena ada, and this is actually by default lah. Data preparation, model development, you validate, okay, based on the actual dengan dia punya prediction tu kan, then you deploy kalau dah kira okay, this is very good validation, the score are very high, and you deploy them and you monitor betul tak dia buat tu. So it enables collaboration, productivity, scalability, security, and as well as in term of response to AI application. Okay, in the machine learning, of course lah, you have to when you build a machine learning, you need to follow the principle of this responsibility AI yang ada 6 tadi kan. Then you need to refer back those 6 principles of AI responsibility. So there's a 3 what is machine learning. So this is on automated machining is a feature lah dalam machine learning punya platform ataupun portal which automate the process tadi. It can be in table form, it can be in text and even image data. Okay, and make sure it's biasanya speech pun boleh juga. Okay, in speech, text, image, and audio. Okay, so it uses a state-of-art algorithm, okay, and technique to find the best model for your data based on your specific metrics. Ingat matrix ada data tadi lah X, Y ke, okay, and constraint. Okay, so it's also generate explanation on reports for your model to help you to understand performance and as well as the fairness. So lastly is the designer. Designer ni senang sikit lah, drag drop. Yang penting is actually your automate machine learning tu. Okay, where you have you need to construct your algorithm to each of the machine learning punya component lah. So for as a machine learning designer, it's a graphical GUI lah, GUI that let you to build machine learning pipeline tadi tu without even writing a code. Okay, sebab code macam the pipeline tadi you create during masa automated machine learning, then baru masuk ke the designer. So you can drag drop your modules from a library ataupun pre-built components such as data sources tadi, transformation. Okay, you have the algorithm lagi, scoring function. To create your pipeline. It's very interesting. Okay, I also want to explore. Okay, with you. Okay, on this lab session. Okay, so you can also customize your pipeline with Python. Memang dalam requirement actually you need to know Python lah. Okay, but it's okay for the start. Okay, this is actually a start for you. Okay, to expose and apa, a first start of your Azure lah experience. So you can learn Python along the way jugalah. So ataupun R script, script pun penting jugalah. Okay, but for our syllabus we introduce Python lah. Okay, import custom modules. Okay, machine learning SDK dengan as well as you have to retrieve lah all the API from the GitHub. Macam first example, you have to retrieve dulu, run dulu. Which machine component, which AI component yang you nak guna. Okay. So this is how you explore machine learning. Yang tadi rasanya saya dah tunjuk. Explore. So ini kat sini, semua ada kat sini. Everything we go to the same link lah. Okay. I guess any questions? So we have I guess for this half an hour, maksudnya tak for roughly around maybe can be reach 1 hour jugalah untuk you try out this machine learning punya tutorial ni ha. Okay, this is the sample tadi. So you launch here. Okay, hopefully everyone have done this dalam 15 minutes dia dah bagi kat sini. Okay, you go through. Okay, currently you will need. Okay, you should. Okay. Tak apa, no need any pun, require any pun tak apa. So you have your free student. Saya pun pakai student punya. Malas saya nak letak di, although it's free for student. Yeah, but when I try to access it using my account yang guna admin tu, tiba-tiba I need to key in the details of my credit card semua kan. This is compulsory, tapi they're not gonna charge me. Okay, but saya just register for student lah. So far I'm a student. Saya pakai Outlook ni. Sebenarnya Unimas punya account I guna untuk yang admin. So I got two lah for me to test it out. Tapi I tak ambil exam lah. Saya dah ambil exam dah, takkan nak ambil lagi kan. Yang ni hari tu I fail. See? Okay. Saya tunjuk which part yang I fail dulu. Set. Tapi tak apa. Okay, I covered it. Okay. Then certification, mana pass. Achievement kat sini. Dapat trofi. Okay. Achievement, collection, service. So when I using my other account, okay, let's see, I'm using Linux. Oh, okay. I belum explore sangat ni sebenarnya. Okay, let's see. Okay. So where is actually, you said I got one batch. Oh, what is this? An easy achievement. No, what is So ini pun I baru sometimes Microsoft keep on upgrading their services and even their website. So after 1 year baru I refer balik yang ni, so they have this kind of platform lah. So saya ada dua. So this is for the admin punya ni satu, dengan satu lagi is a student lah. It's okay if you have completed, nanti rasanya they will guide you through how you gonna your batch kat sini. So you collect lah banyak-banyak kat sini. Gonna see whether got my score. Yeah. Yes. Should have shown me the score lah. Tak ada Apa? So now it's your turn to sit for the exam. We need to cover another 2 lah for tomorrow. So do you have any questions? The next. I think heran juga when you chat it should shows here. Chat tak ada ni. So general, okay. Okay, kat sini. Oh, specific date. You can look at experience call, experience. Yes. You need to, you require to subscribe ataupun enroll for the examination first lah. So you can set for the date. So this is the sample question. Thank you, Ping Ping. So a bit nervous earlier, but now dah pace dah okay sikit. Because it's kind of first time me teaching AI lah. Because this is usually I teach more to software engineering development kan. So kind of new for me lah. Good to teach and good to learn back. Kalau nak suruh ambil exam lagi boleh lah. I think juga nak ambil exam, but I will try AI900 for the platform dulu. Because last time we taught we've been taught on only the fundamentals sahaja. Yeah, I give you the example of a link that I train under I train lepas. This is training provider yang give us the training. Okay. Let me give you the sample of link that they have shared with me. I train. Oh, okay. Cool. Preparing for, so this is actually last time lah, maybe gonna share here. Ni masa I dululah, okay. 2020 masuk 2000. Boleh guna pakai lah ni. So ni 2020 last year 2022 lah. So this is actually boleh lah. In case my video my explanation not good enough, okay. So ni untuk vision kan. Recover. Dia still lagi shared. Ni Mr. Ringganathan. Lagi masa dia lagi online video ni saya dekat immigration. Yeah, I'm have to accompany my husband lah untuk buat dia punya pasport biru tu. So at the same time I'm listening ni memang tak dapat fokus lah. Okay. So you can refer to this. Okay, this is for hasilnya step besar sangat ni. Okay. So this is a lady in I-Train. The start, the same thing as this is Wiscat. Ini yang saya guna untuk belajar. So I'm gonna share you few of the. So this is the Wiscat. So ni Wiscat lah. If you have understand overall of the topic semua untuk AI900. So this is for the last day of your examination. You can refer at lah. Okay, macam sini macam there are 5 key element. Okay, semua kat sini. And then identify the guiding principle of responsibility AI. Okay, semua ada kat sini. 6 sini. So bagi yang suka infographic, this is a type of it lah. So it's a simple. Saya print colour kan. Nervous sangat. On my second attempt. Okay, print and dia faham semua. Barulah faham betul-betul. Okay, this is really important for you to understand use cases available in the world. Okay, globally. Semua dekat sini. Don't worry, I'll share this with you. So this is NLP. Tengok NLP ni. Tak ada gambar-gambar pun NLP ni. Ni bosan pula tengok NLP. This is more on yang interesting actually di conversation AI sebab melibatkan ChatGPT. Very interesting. Okay. And satu lagi ni I share to you based on apa yang di-share oleh from iTrend tu. Ni pun dalam Microsoft punya ni. So all the question are here, examination. So describe AI. Semua ada. Everything is available in the platform, Microsoft platform. Just you rajin ketak je nak explore. Macam kat atas ni, go to Microsoft. Semua ada kat sini. Certification, training, documentation, okay. Assessment. Okay. Cuma you jangan sesat pergi tempat lain aja. In case you tiba-tiba you nak master basic of Azure AI fundamental ni. Basic AI ni open AI takut. Okay, ni boleh. Okay, help to prepare. Betul. Okay, it's the right path for you. Okay, jangan pergi AI900 tu lain pula. Okay. You can have translation for text and speech. Dia akan bagi tahu, okay, this is actually for which certification. Dia akan bagi tahu lah. Azure Cognitive Services untuk dia. Okay, if you want to learn more. So it's good for beginner, AI engineer, data analyst. So you can go through lah. If you have done your AI900 you pass, so you can go up upper level again. Okay, for AZ900. Ini student punya. You can join the student summit. Just be active. Okay, this Microsoft. Student developer community contoh dia. Last time Imagine Cup lah. Lama dah tak ni. Imagine Cup was involved in 2008 ke 2008 last time. Which.net masa tu .net lah. Saya ada lagi. Okay. Not actively been mungkin our ini mas belum aktif lagi dalam ni lah. Still available. Good prizes and the goodies lah. Goodies yang banyak dulu. Okay. Ada soalan lain? Then we will end this early at 4, so you can have ample time for you to do the exercise. Okay. Thank you, Ping Ping, for accompanying us today. We helping out with answering the students' questions. Okay. Kalau tak ada soalan, okay, I guess we'll end our session for today. So you will have 1 hour for the exercise lah. Okay, exercise. And I will share the extra lab, okay, or self-learning tomorrow after you have done the evening session tomorrow. Okay. Again, for lab, they won't be covered in the examination. Okay, just the thing that really important is actually from the website. Dalam website tu kalau ada yang ni, you have to go through. Macam kat sini, okay, 43% complete. So make sure 100%, 100%, 100%, 100% kat sini. Okay, kalau you nak go through dulu and then tomorrow you listen to me, mungkin you dah, tak apalah, tak payah nak listen lagi lah. Because we have covered everything. Okay, it's okay. Okay, thank you very much for your time. Okay. Have a pleasant day and a pleasant evening for you guys. Okay, take a rest.
Thank you, Madam.
You're welcome. Okay, bye. I'm gonna share in term the attendance kalau ada yang belum lagi. Sign the attendance, non-attendance. Mana ada 9 lagi.